Welcome. And today is Dynamax Monday and Unit Review. My king Pokemon currently for all Dynamax and Gigantamax battles that I could really use it to its full use. And I'll tell you why I think it's so important that you should have one. All right, for the Max Monday schedule, it's going to be Beldum is going to be March 3rd. And unfortunately, I'm not sure if we have the whole week or only part of the week to farm Beldum, as we do have an event at the end of the week as well. And are still waiting for information on that event. But going against Dynamax Beldum, it is weak to Dark, Fire, Ghost, and Ground, but it is strong to a laundry list of a dragon, fairy, flying, grass, ice, normal, rock, and steel. And it is incredibly strong against poison and psychic. The Beldum stats in general are relatively low, but it is a 3 evolution Pokemon, 96 attack, 132 defense, and 120 HP. Its IV is 513 to 558, so you're looking for a 558 for the hundo. And the fast attack is a normal takedown, and charged moves are Iron Head. So you are going to be looking at the very least to make sure that your tank slash unit that you're going to be using against this will be strong against steel, as it will hurt an awful lot. And the fast attack takedown is not really something that you should be super worried about in general. Dynamax Metagross. This is probably the beefiest Pokemon if you look at all three stats overall that we currently have in either Dynamax or Gigantamax meta. It has the same tolerances and strengths and as Beldum, but if you look at its stats, this is the first unit that has 200 and honestly well above 200 in stats above in both attack and defense. And we're going to talk more about its skills and why I kind of don't worry about its lack of 0.5 second attacks. And its stamina is the weakest, and it's slightly above average at 190. The average one is around 188, and so it is just slightly above average in HP. So as a healer, it is not really something that you're going to depend on a great deal. But because it has the ability to be an incredible tank while dishing out a lot of damage, especially if the Pokemon that you're fighting is weak against steel and psychic. Metagross fast moves are relatively slow at 1 second apiece. And I know that there's been a few people that have gone mad. 0.5 seconds are the meta. Why do you care so much about Metagross with only 1 second attacks? And if everything was equal in a vacuum, I would agree that 0.5 second attacks are probably the most important thing to look at. But we're going to go back to its stats and its ability to be a dual hybrid tank and attacker, along with it being able to use incredible elements to attack. But that 228 defense allows it to absorb with its shield if you can do both attack and defend at the same time. And with 257 attack, there's not many Pokemon, period, right now in Dynamax that are higher. And if they are higher, they're no higher than 10 or 12, not percent, attack total, which is around 3 to 4%. The only weakness is it's Dynamax only and not Gmax. If it was Gmax, its power would be so out of whack that really there wouldn't be much reason to get a lot of other Pokemon because of its pure power. Let's go back to its fast moves. For Steel, for Bullet Punch, we literally only have Machamp. And Machamp is a fighting unit only, so it already is behind. And Machamp is a good 10 to 15% behind on top of it of the power of Metagross. And for Psychic, for fast moves, we don't even have any in the class yet. This is by far the most interesting unit. And to be fair, if we had a Psychic class, it would need a 0.5 second attack move for it to be even useful. And then on top of it, it would need to have high defense to make it really worthwhile. And I know I've been hammered a whole team before. You're just going to really hurt everybody. That's not true. There is one thing that Metagross is great at. And if there is a team of 4, which I have used before, of Metagross, what you do is you make sure that you guard at least once every turn. And for at least the first 2 to 3 minutes, you have a higher chance of getting a single attack only, which allows everyone else to kind of fly through. Once you get 2.5 shields, you can all just start attacking. And yes, you will be attacked at least one more time than with a team of all 0.5 seconds. But with its high defense, with its incredible resistances, and honestly, there's no other real choice for Steel or Psychic unit right now. It breezed through a lot of Gmax units where it was only neutral to and not even strong against because of its ability to adapt on the fly. And it is really useful if you have teammates that you can communicate an awful lot with. Now, if you are in a completely random group and you are just fighting and don't even know where they are, yes, Metagross actually is still pretty good because if you're assuming everyone else have 0.5 second units, you could become the tank and you'll be surprised that Metagross, once it gets that first transition and you can get the guards up, you'll be surprised that no one else on your team will even potentially get hit. And with that, they will be able to attack nonstop. You could just raise one shield, and even then, you could dish damage too while absorbing all the damage. And as I say, that's why Metagross is my king. I have Flash Cannon as my charge move. Does it really matter? No. The only reason it kind of matters is I use my Dynamax Metagross in other battles as well. But all in all, it is an absolute powerhouse of a beast. And personally, it's more than just useful in the Dynamax. It actually has use for all the other aspects as well. All right, so we're going to now get into my favorite part, and I know a lot of your favorite part, the math. Going to be a little disappointed this time. Partially, your disappointed is I don't have much to compare it to right now. And right now, we've only got Machamp. And Machamp is a fighter and not a steel unit, so it doesn't even have the stab bonus, which is the same type attack bonus, which is a 1.2x increase on overall damage. And since they're both D-Max, you could still get the Machamp the same exact skill, which is Bullet Punch. So there's not even a difference in 0.5 versus 1 second. You're just looking at damage. And at the same level, you're seeing a 30 to 43, 44% difference on a level basis, assuming the same D-Max power level number. And even if you don't, a level 1 Metagross is almost as powerful at level 30 as a level 30 Machamp. That's how much more powerful Metagross is in Steel during the transformation phase. It's not even close. And with that, it's one of the reasons why when I do my tier lists, and yes, I'm due, but I'm going to be waiting until we get the notification for the March 8th or March 9th event for the max battles so that I can have a more full tier list. But that's why right now Metagross is my king Pokemon. The other reason is Psychic. Don't really right now have anything with a Psychic fast attack that I could even compare it to. So instead, I kind of just go from level 20, level 1 to level 3, level 50 to kind of show you the difference for where to level up your Metagross. Personally, I highly suggest level 3 D-Max power at level 40. That gives you the good amount of defense, HP, without having to use an awful lot of XL candies. We did have a Beldum Community Day about what was it? Almost a year ago now. And with that, you should have some candies. But the one big knock that I have on Metagross, other than its 1 second attack, which it still overcomes in spades because of its stats, its unique elements, and just the ability for it to be both an attacker and defense unit at the same time, is that you are going to want to level both guard and attack to level 3. So you're already looking at 100 XL candies just on the level for D-Max power and also for max guard. And if you have more than that, I do highly suggest that you put it into Metagross. I personally have been able to 4-man G-Max 4-man with my boy who uses level 20, and he used his Metagross as well, and we were able to do it. I was almost able to 1-man Lapras my Metagross, but I just did not have enough attack power to finish it off with a single G-Max Lapras attempt. If I actually had time, I might have used a Max Mushroom to try it, but it was literally the last attack just before 5 p.m., and I was like, let's try. And I was around 15% left to go. So it did look like it was possible. It was able to survive. The only thing that I had was a sacrifice unit beforehand. And then I was just shielding and attacking with it. And it was doing some damage. So is Metagross worth it for you? Coming from me, it's a straight out, oh yeah, definitely. It's by far the best class in Steel and only in class for Psychic for damage. As a tank, it's a beast. Yes, there are some units that have slightly better resistances, especially in, I believe, Psychic and Poison for Gengar and Excadrill. But with its almost double defense strength, it is actually a far superior tank in taking damage. Just an example, if we had a power of Moltres, now fire is the one thing that it couldn't go, but if we instead of Moltres were using a psychic unit that is roughly as strong as Moltres, it would have done a massive damage to Excadrill at roughly its max HP, even though it is highly resistant against it because its defense is so low. But Beldum would have not even lost a shield because even though it still has around 11% less overall resistance, its defense is 2x as much, and that really reduces that damage a lot more in general. And so it's just a lot of stats that really lead to Beldum being incredibly useful as a tank. And it's just not all tank, it can dish damage as well. And that's just why for most people, and honestly, I think every trainer should have at least a level 40 Metagross or the best of your ability Metagross in your overall system. Is it a little expensive in candy? Yes. Is it as expensive as candy as the legendary birds? It's not even close. And you can farm it a lot easier than you can with the legendary birds on top of it. All right. I do know that some trainers in my group, and I'm not even going to say they should know better, the 3-star Beldum is a little bit more complicated than a lot of other battles that we have really fought. But if you know what you're doing, it is something that you should be able to solo. Or if you don't have any leveled Pokemon, you can bring someone with a duo and two people with level 20 Pokemon, the right ones, will be able to defeat Beldum. And what I will do is, when we do have the 3-star Beldum, I'll try to do 2 to 3 battles, upload them. They'll probably be shorts because they should be pretty quick. And with that, we'll be able to, I will show in probably the one that's going to be an absolute joke. And then I'll try to work on some other, another attack and something that's a little bit lower levels overall in general so people can understand what's going on. But in normal form, what I would say is you bring in 2 tanks, and all of these that I'm saying also count as tanks except for Gengar. And you can then bring a Gmax Gengar, Excadrill, Gmax Charizard, D-Max Daramarka, Moltres in those order, or D-Max Charizard after the Moltres. It should mostly do normal attacks and Iron Head. It should do mostly Iron Head attacks. So you're really looking for tanks that are strong against Steel. Excadrill, Charizard, Moltres, anything really fire related. Blastoise is also strong to Steel or anything water related. Personally, if you have 2 different fire units that you could put in, or an Excadrill, obviously, and a fire unit, that's going to be your way to make an easy win. For transformation, if you're using a hybrid tank attacker like Charizard, Moltres, Excadrill, where they could all, or any fire unit, any or Excadrill, try to keep 2 shields up after the first transformation, then use all the remaining turns to nuke. You may feel that the 2 shields is a little too much, but it's always a good idea to have 2 shields up. Try to have your shields at least level 2, if not level 3. And when I say shields, those are max guards. If one goes down, use the next attacker. That's good, and it's going to be fine. Gengar will melt, so just be careful. But you shouldn't have too much of an issue, and if you do, try to grab a duo. I will be happy in the comments down below if you are struggling for a 3-star Beldum. I'll ask you, all right, if you go, hey, Mad, I have these units, give me the levels. I may say, hey, I will try to give you a quick, this is what you should do. Try to level this to here and go. But all in all, this is kind of one of those things where I want to make sure the community understands how useful Beldum is. And my planned team that I'll do first is going to be my Gmax Charizard, which will melt Beldum, Excadrill, and Gengar or a Mystic Bird. And I'm going to use the Mystic Bird really just for candies. So if you do have a Gmax Charizard, though, honestly, it will burn. It will go down. Finally, what unit should you focus this week? Obviously, for me, number 1 is Beldum. If you have a high-quality one already, don't worry about it. You can ignore. Ghastly, very powerful glass cannon, sneaky fighting tank. D-Max is the best dark-type attacker. That's going to be your number 2. D-Max Gengar is our best dark type, and I actually do not have a D-Max Ghastly because I missed it, and I'm going to be hunting for 2 or 3 Ghastlies during the Tuesday period if I can find it. Unfortunately, there are 5 units, and the last time Ghastly was around, it really just wasn't easy to find. Tied for 3rd is Pidove and Daramaka. Kind of depends on what you're looking for, if you need others. And finally, Sobble is off the list, but it's not one of those where I say ignore. If you really need Sobble candies for any reason, it's a fine unit to go, but there's just much higher used Pokemon right now that are needed overall. With that, that's all I have for this week. More importantly, please like and subscribe. That really is helping the channel. You guys are absolutely killing it for me, and I am so appreciative. If you've got any comments, I do try to respond. I do apologize. I haven't responded to all the previous comments yet, partially because I was away for work and I had a lot of traveling. And then with that, I caught a horrible virus on my plane travels, which made me miss out on most of the weekend's events, which kind of sucked. But I promise that when we do get the March 8th and 9th events, that I will also host that out within a day or two and to try to include that as the next set that we should be focusing on. But more importantly, good luck, trainers, and I will try and do better next time. Bye, everyone.